morning, I want to thank the grace of heaven, virtue of masters, mercy of transmitters, and also confidence placed by our senior lecturers and all of you for the opportunity to continue this topic on the great learning for some of our newcomers who did not attend the class previously. The great learning is one of the four Chinese classics by Confucianism philosophers, and this one in particular was actually composed by Confucius. There's a chapter of the text, or we say the classics, composed by Confucius, but then there are also 10 other chapters which are commentary of this text by Confucius' disciple Zhengzi. Zhengzi is also known as the the secondary sage of the Confucianism, and Zhengzi is also considered one of the patriarch of the Dao's in the Dao's lineage. They are the main essence or the theme of the great learning. There are three. Does any one of you remember what they are? Just to kind of recap what we have already covered. So the goals, or we say the way of the great learning. Again, the great learning, in Chinese, it can also mean the great 大学, as I wrote on the blackboard. It can mean higher education, like a college or a university. But when it applies to Confucianism or to our Dao's learning or cultivation, it actually means the learning of a superior being. Okay, I like to draw your attention to this word 大, which it can mean big, it can mean great. But here, Chinese words were really created by people who had some kind of connection. They also like Buddhas and saints reborn, and so they create this Chinese characters, and most of the Chinese characters have meanings. It's not just a sound. Okay, like this word 大, it composed of two parts. Okay, there's this part of 人, which means human, and then there's a horizontal, this part, okay, it's human, 人, okay, and then this horizontal line, it means what? That's one of the three treasures that we received when we were initiated, and so that's the essence, or we can say the Tao or our Buddha nature. So when the human receive this one, okay, then we can become. We actually originally come from the absolute heaven. We came from the realm of celestial being like Buddhas and saints, and we come to this world to fulfill our vows or to pay off our karmic debt. Okay, but when we receive this, then we have the opportunity, we have the potential to be perfectly enlightened and go back to where we came from. So this one is very important. Okay, so this one gives rise to everything in the universe between heaven and earth. It's what gives human beings our true self, our Buddha nature. It also gives all kinds of animals the same spirit, the true self, the spirit. And it also gives life force to plants. Okay, and it creates everything that you see between heaven and earth. So this great learning is the learning for people who want to become a Buddha, who want to become perfectly enlightened. So we should not take this as like the knowledge, book knowledge that we can attain from like scientific books, textbooks from schools. Yeah, and after we have been in a temple for some time, and even if we have listened to Buddha nature studies, then we can really give a new meaning to this great learning. So we talk about the goals of the Great Learning is to manifest our bright wisdom, or in other words, our Buddha nature. Also to transform other people so they can also be awakened to their Buddha nature and also reveal their bright wisdom. And when we and other people are all living in accordance with our bright wisdom, then there's this world of great harmony. So this is the goals of the Great Learning. If you need the slides, we have some print out from last time, but I guess some of you took home. Yeah. Sorry. Maybe during the break, we're going to, if you need them, we're going to print them up for you. But for now, we have to look at the projector, the computer screen.
I think that maybe because we didn't get it.
Oh.
Last time, so we can make a print out later.
Oh, okay, okay.
So say one great learning. Great learning is one of the 4 books. We are very critical book. Holy teacher mentioned to us, if we really understand the half of the great learning, half of the book, we will know how to manage this whole world. We just know half of the book. We will know how to manage this whole world. Very interesting. So this is very critical half of books for all of us. Okay. So just to show everybody.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Yeah. So there's the thank you transmitter. There's the 3 goals of a Great Learning. But they are also, in order for us to reveal, to manifest our Buddha nature, and also to inspire others to do so, there are different steps we have to follow in order to reach that destination. Of course, although they are kind of progressive, but they can also happen concurrently. If you don't mind, can you skip to the last but one? I think I have a diagram showing all the different steps. The last but one slides. Yeah. So it's about 4-6 slides down. Yeah. Yeah, this one. Can everyone see clearly? Yeah. So that's the goal of learning. And on the top, you see the 3. Blue background, white letters, those are the goals. But then they really follow into different, we call it internal or external cultivation. They kind of fall into those categories. So when we manifest our bright virtue, which is also our Buddha nature, in order to do that, we have to first get rid of attachments. Okay, attachments are like, anyone can say just one?
Just things you own.
Things you own. Material, right? Material things. Very good, Paul. Okay.
That's one of the critical ones.
Asim?
Kind of covers all of it.
Any attachment. Yeah. What we have.
Guy?
Yeah, ego.
Yeah.
Very good.
Ego.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
Yeah. And they give a very good explanation for the ego. It's to edge God out. God is our essence, right? We all have a God inside of us. So to edge God out, then we don't have the essence, and we can do whatever we want. And of course, that's going to result in bad karma. Okay, Phoebe. Attachments, huh? No, attachments. We're talking about attachment. Something that we need to let go to smooth our path to Buddhahood. Temper. Very good, yeah. Mm-hmm. Cindy.
Big one, we all have. Any
Yeah,
attachment
yeah.
you think we need to get rid of?
Or rather, our pursuit of money, right? Pursuit of wealth, yeah.
We all, well,
Yeah, uh-huh. Evelyn? Emotion. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean that we should not have any emotion. Like when someone we love, has some kind of bad things happen to them, we still show our sympathy. But just like the doctrine of the mean, which is another classic by Confucianism, we have to do it in moderation. In moderation, don't overdo, but we still need to show our support and our sympathy. Okay, but it's just in the right amount, the right degree. Okay.
That's very important. I think the lecture they all talk about this one is with emotion. You have more emotion, additional emotion. We cannot become a Buddha. Without that emotion, we cannot become Buddha. So means what that means is for Buddha, they're very calm. So human being, we are like this, we don't like that. We love this one, we don't like that, we don't love that. So we have a difference. We treat people as, okay, this rich people, this poor, this beggar, we treat them different. Okay, male, female, elderly, kids, we treat them different. From Buddha point of view, they all look each one as a Buddha. They treat everybody equally. Doesn't matter what they have, what they don't have. They treat everybody as equally. And so they don't see the difference on individual. They only see their Buddha nature. Their Buddha nature means from the God. They only see their Buddha nature in person. So they treat everybody like Buddha. That's why they are Buddhas. So we need to get to that level.
But grief is also an emotion.
Yeah, emotion, but you gotta act properly. Not like a guy, in Las Vegas. It's emotion. You know what I mean? Right? It's overdue, right? It's overreact, right? In his mind, he's so many stuff inside himself. So we can have emotion. But those emotions could be compassion to try to save the living being. So that kind of emotion. It's not really emotion trying to pursue property. It's Virginia said it kind of be medium. It's not overdue, it's not that too less.
Or underdue. Yeah, for example, once parents passes away, and we should not be partying. I mean, the person should not be partying, just like nothing happened at all. But of course, if the person is sad to the extent of hurting their health, that's not good, because if we are hurting our health, we're not being filial to our parents, because we have this body from our parents. And if our body hurt, they're going to hurt too, because that's the only thing that our parents are always concerned about. Yeah. Okay, let's move on. And so to manifest the bright virtue, we also have to attain the truth. Okay, now to attain the truth, it means that we have what? Usually when we don't know the truth, then we still would use our human mind or our conscious mind to process things, what happened on the outside, right, in the circumstances. And then we still have duality. We still have like and dislike. Actually, sometimes there's a saying in English, a person's meat can be another's poison. So this can all be very subjective. But to attain the truth is that the truth, that's the universal truth. There's no two sides, no relativity, no duality. It's what we call, as I wrote on the blackboard, on the board, we use our observation wisdom to react to the outside happening. We also handle the outside happenings with our Buddha nature, in reference to our observation, our wisdom. Okay, and then the next one is to make our wish.
Truth is also talk about the Buddha nature too. We know we are the all Buddha came down from human world, from the heaven, and came down here. Well, every one of us are Buddha since reborn. Sometimes we forgot who we are before. Then truth means we had a Buddha nature. We have a conscience in ourselves. So we need to help all the living beings, bring them back. It's where we came from originally. And those truths, because we need to reveal, we need the various truths revealed. So the Buddha nature need to come out one day. So now we are all receiving that. We know where the Buddha nature is. We receive first treasury. So we know what to do, how to do it, and we So the truth, before we don't know, okay, we don't know what to do. At least now we know everything come back to our Buddha nature, based on conscience every day.
Okay, thank you, Lin. Yeah. So the next one is to make our wish sincere. This sincere is, it means that we should not do things for show. it has to be whatever we do, especially the good thing we do, have to be from our true heart, our Buddha nature, from our conscience. So when we do this, then we are sincere not only to others. The more important thing is to be sincere to our Buddha nature. And so it means that when we are sincere, then we have the equal universal wisdom or equanimity wisdom, that we see everyone, like Transmitter Lin said, we see everyone as a Buddha. We know that everyone has that potential to become Buddha, that everyone is inherently very good. They all have the good quality. It's just some of the attachments, the clouds cover up their Buddha nature. But someday, if they realize that, they can also remove the dusts. Okay, and then the next one is to rectify our heart. Okay, so it means that we have this is also one of the the Noble Eightfold Path, okay, to make our heart and mind proper, to proper our heart and mind. And when we do that, then we have the great mirror wisdom. Whatever comes, we see clearly. Even though sometimes people may be mean to us, they are very rude to us, we can just take it, knowing that because they have not realized that they have this Buddha nature and they shouldn't be doing this. Also, we can realize this may be because of what we did to them in the past. So they're taking it, I don't want to say revenge, but they are kind of, wanting the payback. Yeah. So we see everything as, clearly, and we can always see from the superficial phenomenon to the very core of the person, which is the Buddha nature. And so we don't get upset. We don't have any bad feelings, like, the resentment or rage. We talk about emotion, which is very bad, and when we still have resentment, that's going to really send us down to the underworld, and it's very hard to get out of there once we are there. Okay, and then after we can do all the 4 steps above, then we can be a well-cultivated person. And so this manifest bright virtue, it's one of the goals of the Great Learning. But it's really the fundamental, the quintessential of just like when we receive the 3 treasures, which treasure is the most important? Because when we are acting in accordance with that treasure, the rest will fall into place. The rest will just follow logically. It's the natural result of how we are, doing in accordance with our first treasure. That's our Buddha nature, the awakening to our Buddha nature. So when we can manifest our bright virtue, then naturally we can transform others. Okay. Now when we can transform others, then it means that we put our family in order. We harmonize our family. We also run the country well. It means that the country will be flourishing, and every people in this country are also very virtuous. It's not just material prosperity. It's also the progress or advancement of people's humanity and spirituality. Okay, and the last one, then, when we are able to do this, then there's peace and order to this world. Now, when we transform others, actually, it does not just refer to people outside. It can also refer to, the inside of us, all these attachments, the bad things. Okay, I think we'll come back later to this. Okay, so today we are going to talk about the 3 goals of the Great Learning, and we also talk about the 8 stages or 8 aspects of the cultivation, and then there are also very important concepts in the Great Learning, and this we can also apply in our life in every aspect, which is in Chinese it says 5步功夫. Well, you can say the 5 progressive techniques is our method of cultivation, or these are the what more. They more relate to our mentality and our attitude. Okay. So the first one is when we know where to stop, we will settle down on it. Okay. Now, when we know where to stop, remember the third one of the goal is to stop at, or we say arrive at perfection or perfect goodness. So this is we know where to stop, the destination. Okay. So when we know this, then we can settle down. Then we will not be always wondering. We'll not be always disturbed, perturbed. Okay. Now, where should we stop? Addison? Where should we stop?
That's the most important thing.
Yeah. Anyone else? Joe.
I think when you start noticing you have a thought, that's when you're going to need to stop.
When you have a what?
A thought.
A thought. That's where you're going to stop. Okay. Well, that can be one of the interpretation. But when we read the entire text, we know, because I know, like for Addison, you don't know Chinese, so it's very hard for you to. So it's understandable. Don't feel sorry. Okay. From the context of the Great Learning, we know 知止 where to stop is that know that our heart should really rest in our Buddha nature, not only outside material or such as power, social status, wealth, or any other, even like we say attachments to certain people, things like that. We should really rest at our Buddha nature, and becoming a Buddha or attaining perfect enlightenment is where we stop. Okay, so it means that we have to keep going towards that direction, going towards the goal. And when we know we have this goal, then our heart and mind will settle. Yeah. Most people who in this world, they are always pursuing the outside external gratification. Like they want to be like maybe a top business person, or they want to be like a leader in a certain community. They want to be very wealthy. They want to live a very luxurious life. But such pursuits will never cease and end. It's never insatiable. It's never satiable, right? When we attain one goal, then we're going to have another goal. Yeah, and because of this, then there are a lot of troubles. And the troubles we are facing in this world, it's all because of our wrong pursuit. Okay, what we should really be going after is to restore our bright virtue, the conscience in us, and this is going to carry us, to eternity. Yeah, if we pursue material wealth, sometimes people will go do something really bad, illegal, underhand means, and this will create bad karma, and it's going to cause our soul to suffer. Okay. Now, so our goal really is to become Buddha and Zen, to become perfect enlightened. Yeah. Many times we heard a lot of principles, right? We say, oh, I know it already. And even when Buddhas and saints came to Dharma class to give us some teachings, some exhortations, they are very simple, day-to-day rules. Okay, we tend to slight this Buddha's teaching, but really some of the teachings are we say very fundamental, but very few of us will really act upon them. but being able to really do it is the key to improvement and for us to become perfectly enlightened. So for Buddhas and saints, there's no, saying. I mean, there's no distance, no separation from knowing and doing. Okay, so our goal is also to shorten or diminish the distance from knowing to doing. Okay, so our action will also be in unity with our words. Okay. Now the second, so understand that we have this goal, and then we're not going to have any wandering minds. We not have such goal today, and then a very different goals another day, and our hearts will always be up and down, and we never have peace and harmony within us. Okay, the second one is when we settle down on our goal. Actually, it can be our goal, or settle down on our Buddha nature. Okay, then we will be very calm and still. Okay, because when we know this is what we want. Okay, our goal in this lifetime is to attain perfect enlightenment, just like the sixth patriarch Huineng, who wrote the Platform Sutra. When he went to the temple to seek the learning, he was asked, "Why are you here for? What are you here for?" He said, "I came here asking for nothing but to become a Buddha." He is illiterate. He was selling wood to make a living. Yeah, but because he's Buddha reborn, so there's already a very solid foundation in him, and so he was the sixth patriarch of the the Zen Buddhism, but also he's one of the patriarchs in the Taoist lineage. So when we are not distracted by outside temptations. So sometimes people say, "Oh, I can offer you, a good position," and maybe, for example, we are working for a company, and then maybe the competitor came and they recognize our talent, and they say, "Oh, I want you to go and work for our company." So is this a good thing? Well, first of all, we should not be just distracted by this. And the other thing is, we are not being loyal in this way. And being loyal is also one of the 8 virtues.
Come back to the sixth patriarch. When he went to see the fifth patriarch, that time, fifth patriarch asked him, "What you come here for?" He said he wanted to become a Buddha, and because he was so short, he didn't go to school at all. So the fifth patriarch looked at him and said, "Look at yourself. How could you, right?" And then what sixth patriarch said? Because fifth patriarch looked, he may not qualify to be a Buddha. And then the sixth patriarch said, "There's no difference from rich people and poor people and kids and adults. There's no difference of their Buddha nature. They are all from God. They are all equal." So suddenly, fifth patriarch, this person is coming from a very special background. And then he usually in the kitchen doing the cooking every day. One day he was in people teaching in the classroom, talk about Diamond Sutra. He never studied, he didn't go to school at all. But he didn't know the words. But when the students read all the Diamond Sutra, he can explain all the meaning already. So that's why all those come from Buddha nature, but we have learned previous life, not just this lifetime. A lot of things we learn this lifetime. What we have is come with our Buddha nature. Our come with our original pure spirit, which is Buddha nature, coming out of the person. So he didn't even go to school. When people talk about Diamond Sutra, he can explain what it means. Okay, so all those stuff. That's why they don't. He started. They don't. I think after all these years, he traveled different locations, and he started to teach. Become one of the teachers. So the Buddha nature, you don't need to learn it. It's come naturally. Nature. So we need to make sure our Buddha nature revealed coming out from our inside. Yeah. So it's not, we learn, everything we learn in the school, that's called knowledge. Knowledge. Okay? And this Buddha nature is not knowledge. It's come from our inside. We know how to do it, what to do.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. So talking about my own experience, I used to have a lot of career interest. Like they say, oh, why don't you apply for a position in the UN as the the interpreter or things like that? And I would think about it, but then I kind of gave up on the idea. But then there are also other, like being in a teaching position and things like that. So it was until after I learned about the Tao and I realized that this is the path I'm going to follow for the rest of my life, that I really become settled and I feel I'm very focused, and whatever happened, it's not going to affect my decision, and because of this, I feel like every day I'm just very peaceful, and although physically I can be very drained, but I always try to connect with my Buddha nature. And that gives me a lot of, really refuel me and give me a lot of energy. And so I just hope that all of us can really find our direction, and that is, cultivating the Tao in order to really achieve the perfect enlightenment. Okay.
Question?
Yes.
In that case, how does one deal with conflict?
Okay, can you be more specific? Like what type of conflict? Goals or with people?
Yes, we spoke about loyalty.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're working with a company,
Mm-hmm.
and you've been working for years, and you're very loyal to
Yeah.
the company. And in the end, the company decides, well,
Let
I'm
go.
going to get rid of you
Mm-hmm.
for whatever reason.
Yeah.
History
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
has shown how good you are.
Mm-hmm.
Do you challenge that? Does your Buddha nature allow you to challenge that kind of conflict?
Well, I think if this happened to me now, of course, we are still cultivating. We are not so perfect yet. I'm sure I will still have some kind of, roller coaster feeling at heart, right? I will still feel a little let down. Yeah, but I guess because of what we learned, already put such a foundation, I think I can eventually take it calmly. They make the decision for whatever reason they have. Okay, if we are always loyal, we are always doing our part, then we already have, kind of contribute to our virtue or to our merit, right? So we just move on. With the skills we learn and experience from this job, then I think we should have confidence. And I think Buddha nature really gives me a lot of confidence. I was not good at teaching like principles, all this, this type of teaching. I taught English before, but this is not something I would feel comfortable doing. But I trust my Buddha nature. I rely on my Buddha nature, and I think gradually I feel more and more comfortable.
I think you bring up a very good point here. I think that conflicts happen everywhere. Unfortunately, not just here, even in Asia. It's in China, the job, we thought job go to China. The people in China, they are struggle too. A lot of people, they're fighting. But pretty sure, all this, companies treat human resource, intelligence, people as assets. Today, they think they are all expendable. Okay? They think everybody should be replaced. Okay? All days I used to work for Siemens, just share my experience with them, but I used to work for Siemens in charge of the medical department for all the design. And what I know for the department, for the knowledge, I thought I was not replaceable in the whole world, not just USA, whole world. Let me put it this way. But when company decided, so okay, we need to close all the company in USA, we want to move everything to Asia. At that time, people make decision on the top, they did not see a detail, individual, how critical they are. They just let go, close all the department in USA, and then they move all the department. Even German company move all the German department R&D everything to Singapore. So it's very hard for even German people, their own people. But because business people, all those people on the top, they only look at the numbers.
That's right.
They only have 2-3 years to make a number. If they don't make the numbers, they are out again. So every CEO, they got 2 to 3 years and 9. Only they have to come out with a number. If they don't come out, they will be replaced. So they only come out with numbers. So unfortunately, we are all under this kind of situation. But we think, in the beginning, I said, wow, get out from this job. We think, man, other people think that's the end of the world, right? We're so sad. But there's the other good thing happened behind that. And I find the other job even better than the job I had before. I had to go to Germany, I didn't want to go. I have a department there, they took me to a department there. They even give you a contract there. Bring your whole family there, back and forth, you don't have to pay the ticket, they pay everything for you. But my kids, my little teenager don't want to go to Germany. Okay, so I cannot go. But there's the other job waiting for you. You know what happened? Always other good things happen behind it. Don't fear this end of the world. Okay? And then I found the other job, and I traveled to China, Taiwan. I see my parents 3-5 times a year. Before I couldn't go. Now I travel there. You can see them all the time. So it's kind of, the other thing, trust God, trust Buddha. We're willing to dedicate, help other living beings, they're going to help us. They're going to help us. We got to have confidence. All days I may not know that. Today, it's scary. Once we do more and more, they help us even more and more. Even some of the lectures, all of them could die already. Because they have enough merit, and Buddha can save them. Even our life, not just job, our lives too. So once we do more and more every day, we're going to feel more and more for the payback Buddha sends gift to us.
I think in a way we have to train our mindset. That's part of cultivation. You have to look at it in a different angle where you know there's a better waiting for you. There's a better position waiting for you. So you
Other
know,
things.
right? There are other things, there are other position waiting for you, and then you need to learn to move on.
Not easy.
Yeah.
I have a colleague, right? He lost about 12 pounds in about 6 months. But he hanging on the job. He lost 12 pounds in 6 months because of pressure. Okay? On his job, he's a project manager next to us. And then you see him keep losing weight. You know he's going to have a health problem. We don't see that. But he keep hanging. They don't come to let him go. But you feel at the end of the world at that time. But in the meantime, at the end, you know what? Save his health. Because they don't, in the beginning he was so sad. But they don't, I talked to him, he received out too, they don't. In the beginning he didn't receive out. At the end, after he found out he had health problem and other things, he started to realize job is not everything in the world. Job is not everything in the life. You have family, you have friends, you have other things besides job. Job, you always can find the other job. But at least he saved his health after that. So sometimes the Buddha always said, everything is the best arrangement from God. Don't, every day, everything is the best arrangement. Because sometimes we're facing all the challenge, difficulty every day. That's Buddha and sense give us a test. Are we going to pass through this kind of test to get there? Nothing going to be, everything going to be very smooth, no trouble, no problem. Every family, everybody has their own challenge and problems. Everybody, everything. Okay?
Thank you. 金讲说。
Well, I mean, well, it's not that say that you have to take things lying down. Whatever comes. I mean, if it's reasonable, if they had some reasonable, you can argue, you can say, oh, okay. I mean, maybe if it was discrimination and something like that, right? Obviously, you can say, but it's just kind of like a middle ground. I mean, it's not. Don't go to extreme. Don't go start litigating. lawsuit, all that stuff. Then you go to the extreme, then maybe that's you build up some bad, things among them. So yeah, at some point you'd say, oh, okay, well, I try to get my job back, but if it, if there's just too much, it doesn't work. Just let it go. You have to be able to let it go to be able to find something better too, right? So if we're still too attached to that, then we can't get anything else, right? We can't. So that's also the other half of it, right? So but we just have to be, as long as it has to be within reason. Okay. That. All right.
Thank you so much.
Anybody else have experience to share with us? Anybody else? Anybody?
Paul?
Anybody?
Just don't take life so serious.
Well, that's
Not easy, right?
But that's not. I mean,
But if people can do that, there'll be ideas to
You're
share.
just on the path and it's just follow it, the way it's leading. There's a reason for it.
Right. And so I
Not
think
easy.
to do it on a positive way is that every day we just have to prepare ourselves for any things to happen. Like in the case that you mentioned, we have to, when we are at a job, we just have to be very, dedicated, so we can really improve progress from the job. So we don't get panic when we get fired or anything, because like they say when God closes one door, He's going to open up another.
You could look at it, if you're doing the same job every day, it's just one experience. Now you're going to get to see some new experiences.
It's hard. It's not easy. A lot of people in their career going to go through this kind of experience. Not easy. Okay.
Yeah.
But,
Okay.
Buddha always teach us, especially holy teacher. Treat today is the last day in our life. Treat today is the last day in our life. What else is important in that moment? We are ready to go to leave this world. Is that important? No. So if anything will not help us become a Buddha, that's not important. Okay, if anything which will not help us become Buddha, that's insufficient. It's not that critical. Okay? From Buddha point of view, that's how they teach us. Human beings, we try to pursue the human world. Chase what we want. But from Buddha point of view, we cannot bring with us one day when we leave.
Thank you all for your contribution. Okay.
I can share something.
Yeah, go
So,
ahead.
but this is a different perspective.
Yeah.
This is being loyal to the company.
Yeah.
So, and another company approach you, they're willing to offer you 30% more of your salary.
You're the company?
So another company comes in and says, we'll hire you for 30% more for your salary. Right? The salary was the company they stay with, right? They provide me the education, everything, they guide me, stuff that I know them. We'll take 30% more money. And try it out, figure out what's going on with other companies. It's a risk. You can get hired right away. You can get hired right away, right? But you don't like the job, and what happens? So you get the downside. But yes, loyalty comes with a cost too sometimes. Because sometimes the company cannot support you anymore. You have to let you go. But you can, like most people, that you just adapt to it. Move on. It's a learning.
Not easy.
Thank you so much.
But here we think that people in Asia, they love here. Say, you guys don't have to charge unemployment fee. But not every country in Asia, they have that unemployment fee. Okay? It's because 6 months to support. Right? They say, wow, you guys unemployed. They think we're unemployment forever. I say, no, 6 months. But they don't have that. Even go to China. A lot of time, even today, we always think about job is loyalty, relationship. There's no more. That's what I learned by life. Okay, I think everybody learned that. No more. My VP of the highest person, second person in the company, in big corporation. One night, I just saw he packed all his stuff. Owner said, okay, pack your stuff, go now. So he packed. I said, he got a VP. Pack everything, just move out. He's exactly VP. He's number 2 guy in the whole corporation. Don't have time to look at your computer, look at anything. Just pack your stuff. Give you 5 minutes. Watch you pack it. You're done. 2 minutes. So every company is doing that, not just, unfortunately, that's how that's going to be. If you think it's hard today, it's going to be hard for next generation to come. It's going to be even harder, okay? But I always tell young kids, my older people in the department, say, don't feel bad. If you really know something what you're doing, if you're good at this one, the economy get worse, you're more valuable because they always need you. If you are very good, okay? They're going to need some people really good, okay? The hard ones, we are hanging in between. We are good, not good, in between. We are struggle for the rest of our lives. Okay, so we want to be as good as we can be to what we are doing. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, I have to kind of
Yeah.
rush. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's good to have some
discussion
exchanges.
ideas.
Yeah, that's how we can learn. So when we are at ease, then we can think clearly. Okay. Common still, then we can be at ease. Then, and when we are at ease, then we can think clearly. Because when we are at ease, then it means that we are not being distracted by the outside world, the circumstances. In any situations, we are always calm and still, and then our mind can always think clearly. Just like a pool of water, where there's still some, we say dust or what is the word? When the water is still, then you there's no disturbance. Then the water on the top is going to be very clear, and all the residues will settle down. Sediment will settle in the bottom, and so you have clear water. And I also have this feeling sometimes when things happen at the moment, there might be a lot of things going through my mind, but then I always try to use the first treasure, and when I come down, I can always come up with a good solution to the situation. And it really, our Buddha nature never failed me if I really, make good use of it. Yeah. And then when we can think clearly, then we can attain our goal. Yeah, because when we can think clearly, then we can make good deliberation, we can make good decision, and then that's going to help us attain our goal. And so when we talk about the think clearly here, it means that we are in this very sparkling world, glittering world. There are so many different things, but we still have to be able to know what is true, what is false, what is permanent, what is temporary, what's going to give us the eternity, and what's going to bring us down to the underworld. And then we'll be able to make the right decision. And this right decision, we're going to put us well on the path to eternity, to the Buddha, the Buddha realm. Okay, yeah. So talking about these 5 techniques. Okay, the first one, 知止, okay, knowing our goal. This is like the target, right? Our goal. This is like the course. And then finally attain our goal. That's the reward, or we say the result, the destination. Okay, so actually to know, that's the most important. And this know is not just superficial. It's really knowing our Buddha nature, and it's also knowing that we do not only know these principles, we have to act upon the principles. Okay, so I guess that we conclude this slide. This is a very important steps to follow when we cultivate or we carry on our daily duties at work or at home. Okay, to this slide. So one of the other messages in the Great Learning is the fundamental versus incidental, or in other words, it means the root versus the branches. Okay. Kyle, can you read the first paragraph?
Things have fundamentals and incidentals. Every pattern has an end and a beginning. Understanding the order of priority brings us closer to Buddha.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so everything has the root we say the fundamental or the most important, we say the quintessence, okay? But then it also has the incidental branches, or we say maybe the functions, manifestations. For example, when we talk about, we know that we have this Buddha nature. The Buddha nature is the essence, and then it has its functions like, the five constant virtues, the 8 virtues, and all the 3 cardinal relations, things like that. These are all manifestation. And so sometimes when we have to make a decision in life, or we also have to look at the very essence, the more important aspect of it, okay? For example, something as simple as like sometimes when we want to buy for a teacup, maybe, for example, okay, the most important function of the teacup is for us to drink water from, right? So we have to consider the function first, and then maybe when that is satisfied, that's already decided, then we may look at or maybe it's a very well, painted with, flowers or whatever. That's the outside, the external part. But that's not the very important part. Yeah. And when it comes to our life, cultivating the Tao, learning about the Tao, hoping to, always say, aiming to restore our Buddha nature, that's the fundamental. And of course, we are in this world, we have to make a living. So we also have to work. We have to have a job. The job is to help support us to go by and to sustain our living. But always remember what should be our priority. For example, there's a party or there's like a concert. But then there's also class at the temple. So do we go to the temple or do we go to a concert, right? Okay. Yeah. So we have to understand what's more important. Yeah. Ever since I think I come to a better understanding of the Tao, then I will always prioritize attending to the classes at the temple. Yeah, sometimes they are like, reunion with the alumni. They are also other activities outside of temple that has nothing to do with cultivation. Unless I am the important person to be there, I play a role or some function, I will always try to prioritize attending the class at the temple. Yeah. So when we know what's more important, what's the priority, then we are already very close with the Tao. Yeah, in Chinese they say 尽道乎就尽道. Then so everything we do, we always have to know the essence. Like sometimes we are helping a person in difficulty, especially when people have some kind of emotional problems. We don't just listen to what they say. We have to really get the message behind what was said and know what's really the root cause of the situation. Then we tackle the root cause, and then the problem will be solved. If we are just solving the problem on a superficial level, then we might be able to help the person in this situation. But if the more important problem is root cause is not resolved, then they're going to have another similar situations. Okay. And then the second one, it's impossible to have a situation wherein the fundamentals are in disorder and the incidental are well managed. So it means that if we don't take care of the root cause, the root, it's very impossible that the result will be good. Yeah, for example, if we just water the tree leaves or just the branches, do you think we are going to have a very healthy tree? Right? No. Yeah. Okay. Anyone would? Okay.
Take care of the foundation.
Yeah, take care of the foundation. Very good. Yeah. Let's go on to the next one. Eric, can you please read both?
Confucius said, in hearing litigations, I am like anyone else. We should do something for them not to have these litigations. Those who lack principle and conscience should not be allowed to speak their mind. They should also have a great awe for the law. This is called knowing the basis.
Okay. Yeah. So this slides, these are all assets from the Great Learning. So this actually kind of support the previous slides. What is fundamental? What's more important? What's the foundation and what's the building? Okay. So Confucius said that he doesn't want any litigation. Okay. So the important thing is to avoid the litigations. And in order to do that, then we have to have good moral among people. Then there wouldn't be any conflicts. There won't be any lawsuits. So that's he say there are people who might be doing something wrong, yet they are very articulate. They are very we say eloquent, and they might try to, just like a lawyer. Sometimes he might turn we say black into white, right? Or a wrong case, a case that's 100% wrong into a right one. But this is what Confucius doesn't want to see happen. Yeah, so everyone should have great awe or respect for the Lord. Okay, now talking about this, there are 3 levels we can manage ourselves. Okay, the most fundamental is like regulations and rules, like home regulations, school regulations, temple regulations. But still, good people will always observe these regulations. Okay, so the regulations are really for the good people, because if they are people who have no respect for the Lord do not do them any good. Okay. And the second level is causality. Like people's religious belief, they know causality, but then if they don't have that kind of cultivation, they will say, I might still be able to take a chance, or I just worry about I'm enjoying my life in this time. At this time, I forget about what happened, because that might not be me again, right? So Confucius said the fundamental solution to the problem, is everyone has the conscience. Yeah, if they don't act according to their conscience, then they feel hurt, right? And so they will not do anything against the law, against the morality, and so that's the most important attribute, or the most reliable prescription for the problems.
We talk about causality, cause and effect. Just take one example. Remember the person in Las Vegas killed a lot of people and hurt a lot of people? Human being, we think about the person had paid justice the penalty, called a civil penalty, right? But those people who killed, he killed himself, right? Those people who killed by him, those spirits, they don't gonna, all those spirits gonna chase the spirits of the murder. Even go to the underworld, go to wherever, even if the person reborn 1,000 years later or 100 years later, those spirits gonna chase him all the time. All the time. That's why a lot of time we have people lecture in Taiwan. Because people got cancer. Our holy teacher came in and said, "Do you want me to tell you what you did the previous life?" Because we have one lecture. Previous life, he has 3 good friends together with him go out to business. They make so much money. Suddenly he thinks about God. He want all. So he killed the other 2. Whatever. The other 2 spirits chased him 308 years to find him. So this lifetime they want him to pay back. So a lot of this cause and effect, we don't see it. We saw the person kill himself, it's over. No, it's not over. Those spirits who die, who killed by them, body keep, and then they're going to chase these spirits of the murder forever. For a long time to come. That's the price they have to pay. He doesn't see that. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you. Okay, let's move on to next. Okay, I hope I still have time for Eric to finish his. Okay. Yeah, so not going to read every one of the bullet points. The second one, a ruler of virtue will gain the support of the people. Gaining support of the people will give him the land. Possessing the land, he will have access to its wealth. So this is like putting we say things in good order, or put the horse before the car, not the car before the horse, or put the what we say the roots or the fundamental before the external. Okay, yeah. So sometimes people would do everything. Sometimes even very illegal means to gain wealth or social status, but they don't know what's going to happen, after they leave this world. Rather, when we have good virtue, then we are going to always draw people to us, and whenever we need help, then these people are always there to help us. Yeah, there's a very famous story in China. There is like a duke of a territory. He wants favor from the king, so he was given some kind of status, most favored status, and he lived in the capital. But he still have his territory, right? And so he's always levying tax on that property. And so one day he asked one of his staff to go and collect account receivable. That's what we call today, right? And so this staff of him is very wise. He said, "Oh, okay, I'll do that for you. So what do you want me to bring back to you?" He said, "Oh, just whatever you think is missing in our household." So this person bring all the receipts or everything, the paper, and to that territory, and he burned the receipts in front of all people. He said, the duke know that you are in hardship, so he want to write off all the debt that you owed. So he came back, and so the duke asked him, "What did you bring back for me?" He said, "I saw you have everything. You have treasures, you have gold, diamond. You also have been many, beautiful women." So the only thing that's needed in this household is righteousness. Okay, righteousness. Okay, and guess what? Years later, this duke lost favor with the king. So he was expelled from the capital, and he had to go back to his territory, and he was still maybe half a mile before he entered this territory. There were people lining up on the roads welcome him back. And when he left the capital, was expelled, exiled from the capital, all his staff abandoned him, and only this staff still stay with him. Yeah, so we can never know, right? Yeah, we have to know what's more important. Yeah, our quality, our virtue, our good attributes. Okay, the next one, please. Yeah, so you see, those who are benevolent disperse their wealth to win people, but those who are not benevolent amass wealth at the expense of their own life. Okay, yeah. So Holy Buddha always say, whether or not we have enough, it's already kind of predetermined. Okay, because of what we did in the past. Okay, yeah, that's true. But now we have that's what happened before we receive the Tao, before we cultivate. But now we receive this blessing, and we are cultivate. Then we can really offset some of our karma. We can also change the course of our life by doing good things, but always properly make our hearts proper, our wish sincere. Doing things to help people, then Buddhas and saints will always help us. Yeah, there's a lady in her 90s in Singapore. She's always helping older people, but those old people were really younger than her. Yeah, and so really had, I don't know if she has any family members, but people asked him, you are taking care of these people, who's taking care of you? He said, heaven's taking care of me. This is a real person. She's one of the oldest person in Singapore. And by the way, she's a vegetarian. Okay, I guess that's come to the conclusion. Actually, I just want to mention, so when we do the first two, right, then we will arrive at perfection. When we are at that state of, in that state, then it means for a ruler, he has humanity, okay? For a minister or a person who works for someone else, it means what? Respectfulness, okay? And for a child, the perfection means filial piety, okay? And then for a friend, it means trustworthy, sincerity, okay? And of course, for a country, it means peace and harmony. Let's come to the conclusion. Okay, so having talked so much, I hope we all remember what the three objectives are and what are the steps going towards our goal. So we also have to always remember our mission in this life is to help ourselves restore our Buddha nature, and also to help others restore their Buddha nature. Yeah, and we also have to often inspire our Buddha nature, because there's no better remedy than our Buddha nature for us to lead a very meaningful, a very fulfilled life, a very fulfilling life, and also a wise life. Okay, and I also want to draw you back to attention to this blackboard. If you look at the Tao, which means this is the Chinese character for the Tao or the way. There are two parts. This part here means first and foremost, and this part is walk. So it means that in order for us to really attain the Tao, to be a good person, we have to walk the talk. It's not just knowing. We have to do it. We have to put in our efforts, because if we always just know the principle without really carrying them out, we'll never get there. We'll be always at the beginning. Okay. And then the last one is, this is one of the classics left behind by our ancestors. Our ancestors left behind such legacy. They are always we say the lighthouse, okay, the torch that illuminates our path. But then I like to leave you with this question: what do we leave behind to this world?
Knowledge that you learned.
Knowledge.
Well, what you learned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You leave behind for everybody else.
Yeah. But we have to what? Spread, right? We have to spread the knowledge. Okay, very good. Yeah. So Paul gives us a very positive insight, but I have to mention that look at what we do to this world now. So we really, this is a reeling world, right? Environment has been so badly polluted, so badly damaged, right? And there's so much hatred, so many conflicts in this world. So this is real time. We know these principles, and we are still in this human body. We are able to perform the goodness. So we really have to seize this moment and try to spread the good knowledge, the good principles. And just like our ancestor who leaves behind such wisdom to us, we have to also try to leave behind something good for our coming generations. Okay, so I thank Grace of Heaven and Virtue of Masters for this opportunity, and also ask them for forgiveness if I say anything wrong. And also transmitter and lecturers and all of you to correct me later.